What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus. And hey, you're stuck with just me. Yes, as you can see, the panel, I wasn't able to quite work out with the other guys, so you're stuck with just Alberto, just like we were at 3:30 m my time. All right, and looking back at this match, oh my god, you guys, disaster. Okay, these 3:30 a.m. games, we don't have a good record at 3:30 a.m. my time games. Okay, so as much as I like giving all our friends in Australia a breather and a break on it, yeah, I think you can have those crazy times back, everybody. All right, because it just wasn't quite working for myself. But nonetheless, we've got a lot to discuss. We've got a lot to tackle. This is the last match before we head into this international break. There's quite a bit in the news around Juventus that we will focus on, and we're gonna go through it all. And thank you, Ori. There, you are plenty. We'll have a lot of fun, and there'll be obviously we'll do an extended Storm the Barn, because really, it's always great. These ones don't happen too often where it's just me, but it's almost nice every now and then to do it this way, because we can get a longer Storm the Barn and we can really tap in to how the actual fan base feels and all of you out there. So we're going to have a lot of fun with it. We're going to kick things off saying what's up to everybody in the chat here. So right out of the gate, Alex Juve wasted no time. Hashtag Dushan out. All right. Joey Cappuccino coming in here. Buongiorno Bianconeri. Great to see you in there, Joe. This game should have been a win. Let's not panic. All right. Well, we'll cover it all. Dragon's 8, ciao tutti. Juve needs to give Alberto a medal. 3 a.m. and they drew. Hey, the record's not great at there. Ciao to Juve Corner Cat. Ciao to everybody that's in there. Good morning to Matteo Camisa here. You guys, yeah, well, there's a lot to talk about in this game, and the main theme that you see, Juve far from a finished product. Maybe we have a lot more work to do than we anticipated. And again, we had a lot from the Leipzig match to bring over, and we thought, hey, is this going to be the catalyst that now we could push forward, we could break these teams down in Italy? Well, we're going to take a look at it all together, because not so fast, right? And we're back at square one, apparently domestically. As far as the news, let's hit you with the news tidbits first before we really recap this game. Okay, so first off, everyone receives the official notification from CAS in regards to Paul Pogba's suspension and ban being reduced. All signs are leading to the termination. Juve and Paul Pogba are working on the termination as we speak. He will become a free agent. Okay, so that's the main one. As far as Perin goes, contacts are underway between the management and the agents of Perin to get a renewal that could arrive very, very quickly. So look for Perin's extension to be finalized. And then a lot of the news around a couple of our midfielders, okay? And the first one is Cope Miners, who came off the pitch at halftime. Some of us, we're kind of questioning that decision. But again, you thought, well, we'll get Fagioli and get Cope a rest, as he's been playing a lot. He was going to take off for international duty. He left due to a hip injury that was kind of there from a blow received in the match against Leipzig. Apparently, he's still going to international duty, and the Dutch national medical staff will be evaluating him. So there you have it. That's the latest on Cope Miners. And then, of course, the other midfielder, Douglas Luiz. A lot of news around the speculation of what is going on with this player. And of course, fans are fired up because he cost us a lot of money. Okay? A lot of money. Opa coming in here. It's one bad game. Hope it stays like that. We all hope so. But, of course, still have a lot to tackle in this one. All right? So we will get to the match. So, starting lineup, and hey, we said it. No matter what you're getting for the days leading up to it, Motta's always good for a few surprises. And you're always left wondering, what's he going to hit you with for a surprise? In this one, he actually did hit us with a couple. So you got Di Gregorio, Savona, Gatti, Kalulu, Cambiaso. There's no surprises there. Locatelli and Thuram. So Thuram was kind of the surprise in the midfield there, because it went all along. We were hearing that this was going to be Douglas Luiz's start. Okay. Then you get Conceição, Cope Miners, and the other surprise, Mbangula. So Thuram and Mbangula in there. Of course, Vlahovic up top. So a couple surprises. He's always going to give you a couple. I was fine with Mbangula. Yildiz been playing a lot. No problems getting him back in since he started the season red hot. We'll talk about his performance afterwards. And Thuram, I'm always excited to see Thuram. I have high hopes for him. And Douglas Luiz, yeah, it's kind of a situation, but the way it plays out just kind of leaves you wondering. And we'll get to it, okay? So let's go through these highlights pretty quick. The first half, and funny enough, the stats don't support it, but I thought our first half was actually okay. We could have come out with 2, potentially 3 goals in the first half. We didn't. But the second half, although the numbers don't support how I felt in the game, the second half we had more opportunities, but it just didn't feel like that to me. It felt like we were few and far between. But the first half, it kicks off 12 minutes. We get a handball, okay, on Cagliari. Gatti getting up, had it PK. Dusan steps up. We get the celebration with the Bremer kit. Beautiful moment. Probably the best moment of the game, okay? Best moment of the game right there. Let's just call it what it is. Pulling out Bremer's kit and showing a beautiful celebration in support of their brother, their teammate, Gleison Bremer. Now, in terms of the first half, I thought, like I said, I thought we were working quite well. Conceição comes in, cuts in from the right side, has a good rip. Vlahovic almost deflects that, creates problems. Scuffet ends up making the save. Nobody can get to the rebound. Cagliari clears. Cope Miners had 2 great opportunities. One, well, both of them, he went pure power. So the first one he put over the bar. I want to see you hit target, maybe reduce some of the power on there, okay? But I'm not going to fault him. He was doing a lot of work. And one of the positives that I will say personally, the connection between himself and Vlahovic is starting to grow. Also, the connection with Conceição and these other players is starting to grow, so that's a positive. Again, the title, Juve far from a finished product. We're not a finished product, and that's okay at this juncture, okay? Cope Miners with 2 good opportunities. The second one rocks off Scuffet's arm. That guy, he didn't even react. Like, that's just unfortunate for Cope Miners because it's literally 6 inches, a little bit higher, and he's not even going to move until after that thing hits the net. But Cope Miners taking some heat. We talk about it at halftime. One of the substitutions was Fagioli coming in for Cope Miners, and that happened immediately at half. Now, you get to the second half. I felt, and the numbers will tell you otherwise, the stats in this thing, but I felt like we were creating less the further and further this game went on. And you just had a feeling something bad can happen, okay? 77th minute, Luiz was one of the substitutes that came on. He takes a shot. The rebound falls to Dusan Vlahovic, okay? And my word. I don't really have words for this, you guys and gals. This guy is an enigma, okay? This is essentially where we've gotten to with Vlahovic. He is an enigma. And this, remember all this, you know, after he bags that goal in Serie A, and then it's all this. And I said, don't worry about it. Forget about that. Don't play that game. He does not have the consistency to be running around doing this. Don't worry about, just get the job done. He goes from scoring 2 absolute worldies, okay? 2 incredible goals in Champions League. And then he follows up with not being able to finish this. That's an enigma right there. It's insanity. You know, like, this blows me away that it's missed by a professional, let alone one at Juventus. But yes, there are misses that are brutal that you'll find everywhere. But you know, if you're gonna run around and you're gonna do this after critics talk to you, whatnot, you can't be missing. You can't be missing these. And Yari Mina, this is pointed out by Joaquin here. Mina was in his head all game, and this is another one. And we'll talk about Vlahovic after, okay? But after this happened, and anyone that was with me on the watch along, you can say that I jinxed it whatever. I don't really believe in jinxes, but you could put it on Alberto. It's fine, okay? I can bear the weight. But I said, usually when something like that happens, it's not out of the ordinary to see the other team just equalize. But even beyond this from Dusan, like I said, in the second half, it felt like we were just non-threatening compared to the first half. I felt like despite the numbers, despite the number of opportunities we still had in the second half, I still felt we were non-threatening. We didn't really punish Cagliari. We didn't really put them under and feel a lot of duress. And I felt like it got lighter and lighter on them as the game went on. So we missed that 77th minute. 84th minute, you have the scenario, Luis and Piccoli meet in the area there. And the PK is called. I actually feel a little bit bad for Luis there. I think if he doesn't kick out, maybe, but we do have L'Arbitro Nick, of course, weighing in. 86th minute, Cagliari penalty given with VAR. In this play, we see Luis make an attempt to play the ball with his legs. He steps squarely in front of the Cagliari attacker. We could discuss if that chest-to-chest collision is a foul or not, but looking at what the VAR monitor showed Marinelli, I believe it's the motion of his leg that makes it a foul. The key consideration from the book is kicks or attempts to kick an opponent. Luis swung his leg, missed the ball, and ends up getting the attacker with the side of his leg. Very sloppy challenge. This was a supportable penalty kick decision by the officials. Yeah, I didn't like it because Piccoli was lunging out. So he touches the ball, but he's not getting to it because he's lunging out. Luis comes in. If he just stands there and stops, it's probably fine. A swing of his leg makes it look ridiculous. Luis has started off his tenure, and it feels a lot like De Ligt's beginning. It feels a lot like De Ligt when he was stepping in and it was handball after handball after handball. Nonetheless, completely supportable. I agree. I expected it to be called. It's a PK. Marin steps up and hits a wonderful PK. I don't care who you are. You're not getting to it despite Di Gregorio guessing right. So 1-1. There you have it. 88th minute. And then we try to come back. And it's Conceição. Long ball in. He turns a corner on his man. There is a reach there. And I will agree that on live watch, it looked grossly embellished by Conceição. I mean, even after seeing some of the angles, some of the replays, and you see the hand there and a little bit of a shove on one angle. If you're looking at it from the play behind the backs of the two players involved, it won't look like anything, just him reaching out. If you look at the front-facing view camera, there is a clear reach and a clear extension. However, it was grossly embellished by Conceição. However, I personally feel like if they just took a look back at it, you don't have to call it a PK, but I do believe the yellow should have been revoked. I don't think you need to call a PK on it. I don't think it was anywhere near enough, but he definitely should not have received a second yellow. But it's tough because he did sell it a bit. Now, L'Arbitro Nick saying second yellow to Conceição for simulation. As Conceição dribbles into the area, we see the Cagliari defender grab his shoulder, followed by Conceição falling to the ground. He is then shown a second caution for simulation. Simulation is when attempts to deceive the referee by feigning injury or pretending to have been fouled. FIFA considerations say that simulation should be called only if there is no contact whatsoever between the players, or if the player really exaggerates contact. Because of that contact on the grab, showing a player's a caution for simulation is quite harsh. It is quite possible Conceição was looking for that penalty, which I think we can all agree he was. Okay? But he says was looking for that penalty, but there is enough contact there where you need to give the player the benefit of the doubt, especially considering it is a second caution. Players exaggerate contact on a daily basis. Motta's words after the game were very respectable. If that is simulation, it can be accepted. But now the precedent is set for the rest of the season. And Motta continues to say all the right things, and he nailed it because that's exactly what he said. He goes, hey, he's an honest player. He works hard. If that's going to be simulation, then you've set a precedent across the board. So it is what it is. Like I said, for me, second yellow should have been revoked. I think that was harsh, but I don't think there was a penalty there. at the end of the day, it ends here. You got 95th minute. We've got 8 minutes of stoppage time. 95th, Omer hits the post, coming in low. And my God, could you imagine 2-1 and you lose this thing there? We were that close, that close. Fagioli, 2 minutes later, on a corner, tries to catch the keeper sleeping. Tries to catch him sleeping with an Olympico and hits the woodwork and goes out. This game was a shit show, everybody. It's not a whole lot to say. Okay, so 1-1. It ends there. For me, we talked about this, and in the match leading up to the Leipzig match, in the preview show going into, he said, like, are we going to finally turn loose? Is the attack finally going to cut loose? You know, we just went toe-to-toe with Leipzig in Champions League, and you played a wide-open game. This should be the catalyst that now you turn it up a notch on those teams in Italy. And here you go. You got another low block. You've got multiple stories to this game, but I still overall feel, and you guys can all tell me if you feel the same way, I still feel like we were naive. I still feel like almost there was an arrogance about us as the game went on that we just simply weren't going to concede. And we weren't really creating. We didn't really go to step on their throats. There was a lack of willingness almost to really commit or do so with conviction to try and step on their throats and seal this game. I didn't like that. And in the end, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And that's where it ends up finishing. Now, there are many that feel we played good. We just didn't convert, and that's where it is. These things happen. But that's exactly it for me. You didn't convert, okay? Which means you what? You didn't seal the game. Why stop? Why, gradually, as this game goes on, you could feel yourself not really threatening and getting less and less for chances created. They're starting to grow, and this is what happens when you allow teams to linger for this long. They start to grow in these games. Something could happen. I didn't like that. It felt too naive on our end. And complacent is the perfect way to put it. We were complacent. It was always going to be the result when we took our foot off the gas. First half felt a lot different for me. Okay? Felt a lot different. And Cope Miners, we'll talk about personal individual performances, but like I was saying, the numbers don't really reflect how I felt, how I saw it. I watched this game twice over to see if I was really, that far off. I didn't really feel that way, but first, 12 total attempts for Juventus, okay? 2 total attempts for Cagliari, 77% possession. The first half was great. 1 big chance created. I felt it was great. Second half, I didn't feel we were threatening. 4 big chances created by Juventus in the second half. I'm trying to think of the big chance. I know obviously the Vlahovic one. 9 total attempts, 4 big chances created in the second by Juventus. One way or another, 1 goal is simply not good enough. If you're going to, and however the hell they tallied it, 5 big chances, but the first half felt much better to me. Substitutions, just in the overall in this game. Did anybody feel Motta's subs were a little bit off? Looking back in hindsight, at the time of the match, I didn't really feel it was that crazy. But at halftime, we had questions about that one. But now Cope Miners dealing with some type of hip issue. So Fagioli comes in. Luiz for Thuram. I'm not against it. Okay, 62nd minute. McKennie in for Locatelli. I'm not really sure why you had to completely shift all 3 of your midfielders. I'm not really sure I like that. Locatelli should have just continued to stay out there. He was having a good game, progressing the ball very well, and doing so at good tempo. McKennie for Loca is a weird one. Luiz coming in for Thuram, okay, but 2 out of the 3 midfielders probably makes sense. Fagioli, we'll talk about Fagioli's performance. Danilo in for Savona, I'm fine with it. Nothing crazy there. Yield is in for Mbangula, 77th minute. Some said he should have been in sooner. But I don't know. It just felt strange in the second half in general. It really felt like we didn't come out with the attitude to kill this thing off. It felt like we were playing safe. That's just me, everybody. Now, man of the match, if you're going to have to give the man of the match to someone, it might feel weird that a guy with a red card gets it, but I'm going to give it to Conceição because, I don't know, he was the one constant for us, okay? He was the one constant for us in the attack. And one of the things I've said about Conceição, if I'm going to say it to, referee, listen, I'm going to go like this. If we're going to go Conceição, I'm going Conceição, and I'll tell you why. And in comparison to our other players, Mbangula, Yildiz, etc., all these guys getting hype, Conceição very rarely makes a bad decision on the ball, okay? Conceição almost every time he gets the ball does the right thing with it. He's not always taking his man on because he's reading situations, he's moving. He doesn't just pass the ball off either against a double team. He then moves to get guys moving, keep defenders honest, etc. He was brilliant. He was brilliant in this game. And of course, Locatelli getting subbed off at 62nd minute kind of hurts him for the man of the match. Kalulu was strong as always. Again, he could definitely be in that mix. I think for me, Conceição is really showing how crucial he is. And now, unfortunately, we go into the Lazio match without him. So Conceição will not be there for the Lazio match, and it's going to be a tough one. Look, I see the discussions with the referees, you guys, and Christian coming in here and saying, can you talk about the potential foul on Savona in the box that wasn't even reviewed? This was brutal. And I looked at, there's absolutely no play for the ball. It's disgusting. It's just all arms. It's a push. It's a shove. It's all body. Zero play for the ball. And the fact that it wasn't even looked at, it's beyond me. But again, this is part of my frustrations more so with us, is because don't leave these scenarios to happen. You got to take care of business on your own accord. We can't fade as the game wears on and then say, oh, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? You still got to push on. You still got to get the job done. I didn't like how comfortable we were on one goal. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. But that for me was a PK. That for me was a PK. And L'Arbitro Nick, he didn't include it in his write-up, but I actually sent him that. I sent him the clip, and I said, take a look at this. And he said, this is a penalty. But he says also, this is where he needs to not try and play the ball with his feet like that. It looks like he did this off balance. Back heel with some contact. So L'Arbitro Nick is saying that by Savona continuing to try and play this ball, he made it look like and seem like he was off balance, despite the fact the defender has clearly just ran into him, all arms, body check, and throwing him to the end line. So still, what are we doing? We're not reviewing anything. I don't know. But again, you don't leave it in the ref's hands. Just like Douglas Luiz shouldn't have given the ref that decision to make, because it is a decision. He's got to look at it and call it. You just can't do it. And I hate blaming refs. At the end of the day, you've got a team that's got 77% possession. Kill them. I don't want to sit here in a game where we talked about that many opportunities, 5 big chances created to 1, 20-something opportunities. Kill the game off. I don't want to have a game where we've got 77% possession, all this, And we're talking about referees. That's why I spent little time talking about the refs yesterday, and all my time was spent being pissed off about how naive we were and how we went and played this match in Champions League against Leipzig, and then we played chicken shit back home in Italy, in our house against Cagliari, and had not enough bravery to just put them under, swarm them. You know, it's little things. It's little things about getting the ball out from corners or whatever, and they're clearing it out. We get it, and we turn backwards and we recycle all the way instead of just keeping the pressure on them. Send it right back into the mixer. Pressure, actual pressure. We make it too comfortable for these teams that are going to play us this method, which a lot of them are in Italy. We make it too easy for them to do that, and we let them get away with it. And it's more than just execution, everybody. It's pressure. That's how I feel anyways, okay? We're going to talk about individual performances and everything. And Storm the Barns are already coming in. Fire away, everybody, okay? So we talked about Conceição, Locatelli, Kalulu all being in the mix for man of the match. Vlahovic. Where do you go from here with Dusan Vlahovic? Everybody's just, there's a lot of criticisms. He's going to face a lot of criticisms for this. It's where we're at with him. It's where we're at with him. This is the reality of Vlahovic, and this is, this same carousel that we're on. That when things are well, and he even said himself, when I score, I'm the best. When I don't, I'm the worst. Well, it's not really like that, man. It's that you unfortunately have a lot of these moments to your name. That's the reality. This is not the first time he's missed something like that, and it is big. It is critical, especially in games like that. What I didn't like, even more so than the misses, okay, because we've become accustomed to that. It is what it is. What I didn't like, and what I've always said, Champions League game, I said you'll see, and I called it before the game against Leipzig, you'll see the strong suits in Vlahovic's game. And then I said, wait for Cagliari, because then you'll see the shortcomings. We saw another one of the shortcomings I didn't expect to see, okay? Because when it gets tighter, when the controls got to be better, he actually did a lot of good things. I'm going to praise him for him finally getting away from just standing at that last line defense against a low block, actually moving out, coming into pockets, picking up, playing 1-2s with his teammates, and then going. That was much better from Dusan. I have to give him credit there. But the one other thing, shortcoming that I hate with him, a guy of his stature, he's built, he's got a good physique and everything, but I don't know if they're just popcorn muscles. He got absolutely owned in all the physical battles. Every single one of them. And Yerry Mina got in his head like nothing. Okay? That drives me crazy. Vlahovic, he was mentally owned. And it's stupid little things. He doesn't even combat it. You could see him trying to get away try to ignore a lot of it from Mina. And I had to laugh because at one point, Yildiz comes into the game. He pushes over Mina, over the ball there. He just pushes him over the ball and just pushes him to the ground and tries to grab the ball and get on with it. And I'm like, Yildiz, the young guy, comes in here. He does that. You've been getting dummied by this guy all game, and you have no combat to it. The guy rips your shirt. He rips your long sleeve on. It's ripped about it, and you're complaining to the ref. You're bitching about to the ref. You go in at halftime. You put a new undershirt on, so now he's got a new fresh piece of material. Take the fucking thing off. What are you, cold? It's like early October in Turin. It's not cold, okay? Just man up. Stop feeding into it. Rip that thing off. You should have ripped that thing off completely and go back off with just your shirt and combat this guy. He wanted none of it. And this is Yerry Mina. Decent back, but come on. Come on, man. It bothered me. That bothers me. okay? And it's a criticism I've had of him for some time. He doesn't win physical battles. He doesn't win physical battles. He's not trying to get sent off. What is the threat of sending off? It's called playing the game. It's called getting involved in these battles. Mina owned him. He did nothing to it. If Mina's getting away with it, going back to the referees, what makes you think him jawing back at him is going to get him sent off? Or going through him on a 50-50? Something. Do something. I don't know. I don't know, man. He made Jari Mina look like Giorgio Chiellini in his prime, okay? Like it was just this unstoppable force. I guarantee you Cagliari's going to play some garbage team and get blown up, and Mina's going to look like dog shit. Vlahovic has to be tougher and stronger. Bottom line. Okay? You want to take Jari Mina out of the equation? Rachmani from Napoli made him look like a monster. Okay? Made him look like a monster. The list goes on. He's got to toughen up. He's got to toughen up. I'm with Edgar here. For his size, I don't understand how he gets knocked around so easily. And even in the mental aspect of things, I need to see way more from this guy. Now, for Vlahovic, hey, there's the criticism are there, and this is the thing. This is the carousel with this player. It's because he scores goals, and everybody says, that's it. This is why you get him, like he's the man. Skanga, I get into it with the knee guy all the time. Why? Because he says, I'll pay him whatever he wants. No, Dusan scores all goals. He's the guy. I'm like, well, what happens is in games like this, you got to be the man. You got to lead by example. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it when you get pushed around. You get mentally owned by that player. Now, some said the referee should have done a better job in managing Jari Mina because it was over the top. He was doing all of this nonsense over and over repeatedly throughout the game and didn't go to warning. I agree with that. However, I don't like the fact that we didn't take matters into our own hands. I expect some type of fight back, some type of pushback. That's it. Douglas Luiz. Well, everybody, Douglas Luiz. Like I said, he started things off. It feels just like De Ligt at the start of his. What's the issue with Douglas Luiz? I've seen all the comments. I've seen, look, we missed out on Calafiori. His price tag would have brought that. Not necessarily, because you sold two players in the Douglas Luiz deal, so it wouldn't have been guaranteed. Calafiori's price tag still went to 50 million euros. Forget about that. What is the issue with Douglas Luiz? RB comps, Douglas Luiz is the main reason to blame why we drop points. But I think he will come good. Douglas Arthur. There you go. From Kaushik here. I think, honestly, it doesn't have to get to a point where we have to write this guy off completely. Okay? It'd be silly to do that. Sports, hey, there's highs, there's lows. If we want to sit here and, so there's comments, unmotivated player, time to adapt. Dougie's still not integrated. He doesn't show any grinta. Just a difference going from EPL to Serie A. So a lot of thoughts here. I'm going to start this off by just saying we don't have to write this guy off. And it would be silly to do that. In sports, there's highs, there's lows. Okay? Some guys cycle through them very quickly. Like the guy we just spent some time talking about, Dusan Vlahovic, okay? Other guys hit slumps, hit modes. You got to snap out of it. One thing's for sure. They have to. And it's everybody. It's Mota. It's Luiz. It's a team. Like, they got to break this thing out. Media's jumping all over it. I don't think that's helping anything. I don't think all this questioning about when he's going to start, is he starting? I don't think any of that's really helping. And then when he gets in there, it's like, maybe it's the pressure. Maybe it's the fact that there is a lot of names in that midfield. And him not going out there and realizing he's got this 51 million price tag on his head, that like he's so focused on having to prove that he's got to get out there, that he's actually in turn choking out there. Maybe he needs to just become fine with the fact that he can come off the bench and just go back. I don't know what it is. He has had strong cameos. And he didn't create problems in those cameos. It's just the last 2 games where he's got these fouls, okay? 2 PKs given in the last 2 games. That's a nightmare. But in the cameos prior, he wasn't a problem. He didn't create any issues. I don't know why Malta's not starting, but like I said, and like I've been saying lately, I do believe Malta's doing everything based on merit. If he's not starting, there's a reason. Luis, hey, we've just got to be a little more patient. That's all it is. We just got to wait. He hasn't picked off like the way Conceição has. Colt Miners for me has been good and getting better and better with each game. Although yesterday, Colt Miners took some heat from fans. I think with Luis, we just wait it out. Whatever the reason is, I'm sure they will sort it out. He's a good player, okay? He's a baller. He's just struggling. I can highlight moments with legends. Buffon, some struggles. Del Piero had some struggles, some slumps. It happens. I'm not saying he's at their level. He's going to be a Juve legend, anything like that. But it's sports. Let's be patient. Let's see what comes of it. But Douglas Luiz, it would be silly to just completely write a player off that's just come into a new team, a team that's seen many changes because of a couple back-to-back errors. De Ligt ended up playing very strong for Juve after his nightmare start to his tenure with Juventus, where we thought we were going to have to put that guy in a straitjacket to play, to stop giving away PKs. Remember that? It's going to be okay, everybody. It'll be okay. Now, one of the things coming out of this game, Colt Miners, Fagioli, and Locatelli should be our starting midfielders. This is our best group of midfielders. This is one of the comments I've seen out there. And I'm going to say I disagree. I don't think that I, for whatever reason, really like Locatelli and Fagioli sharing the middle. I almost feel like it's one or the other, and I'm happy for it. Locatelli or Fagioli rotating there. I kind of like the mix of having a Thuram or even a McKennie there. And then I think Colt Miners up high. And I eventually want to see Yildiz switch into that 10 role with Colt Miners. That's just me personally. But Colt Miners is tough because he gives you a lot. He fights a lot off these balls. And he does a lot of grunt work too. And he's great in the press. So with Yildiz, might have to stick out there to the wing. But Fagioli changing it up, playing up top, I was excited for that change at half. Until I saw how Fagioli was playing the position and he ended up just almost making a flat midfield and playing way out on the left flank. I hated that. And that was one of the things why I think second half, for me, it felt like we were less threatening. Colt Miners played it high, played it in the middle, played very close off Vlahovic the first half, and it was working. It was good. One of the things I said we need to do against these teams that play that way. Yeah, I didn't like how Fagioli played it in the second half. So I'm not going to say that I would play that midfield, Fagioli, Locatelli, Colt Miners. I would switch it up. Thuram. What did everybody think about Thuram's performance? Obviously getting substituted out around the 62nd minute. I liked Thuram a lot. And I think he showed some glimpses of what he can do getting further up the pitch. But he didn't drive towards the top of the area as much as I think he should have. But he tried some nice slip passes there for Colt Miners. He's very, very Very, very good midfielder. He's got a lot more than he showed us yesterday, but that was still a solid performance, and you guys seem to agree in the chat here. Solid performance from Thuram, RB Comps. I enjoyed Thuram's performance. Hey, it's and yes, not perfect, but I thought he was good. I agree. I like Thuram. I'm very excited for Thuram. By the way, for anyone that plays EAFC 25, the Thuram SBC is live for the next 5 days. Great card. Pick it up. Let's go. Charles saying Thuram is mid at best. I don't see what the hype is about. Wow. All right. All right. Well, we barely seen Thuram, but yesterday against that team, and I don't think it's coincidence, okay? But I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't, the one thing, if I say I need Thuram to do better, is in the defensive phase. He loses his men a little bit too quickly, and he doesn't fight with the same gusto defensively as like McKennie does, okay? That came up a couple times. But everything else, if you're going to be playing against a low defensive line like that, I'm picking Thuram 10 times out of 10 over McKennie because of exactly what he showed you in the final third when he's moving forward with those slip passes, little chip overhead through balls, etc. And the fact that he could shoot. He had a couple opportunities to shoot from range. He will take them. He missed one. It was always sailing high goal, but he could strike from distance. He's got a good long range shot. He'll take them. It's a completely different element than McKennie's game. McKennie's more of the grunt work guy defensively. He'll give you way more of that than Thuram, but Thuram is still very physical, helps in the press a lot. And yeah, Thuram's not mid by any means. By any means. He's young. He's going to get better and better. He's solid though. He's solid. He's solid. It's not even hype. Just watch. Do you think it's a coincidence? After 62nd minute on, a complete shift in the midfield, we start to create less and less as that game progresses on? I don't. I'm not saying it's all because of Thuram, but I think maybe Mota made one too many changes. Thuram is a good player, though. A good player. You guys, now, let's get to Storm the Barn. We got some questions coming in, though. Kenny D say my biggest question mark is still Douglas Luiz. We're already in October. Still looking like he's lost on the pitch. Clumsy and out of position. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the answer is. But it's up to Mota and Luiz to figure it out. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they do. Because he's a good player too. We can't be watching cameos and 90% of the fan base saying, why isn't he starting? Like, we got to start him. And then all of a sudden get a couple errors in a couple matches and say, oh no, this guy's done. He's just garbage. We can't really do that. Storm the Barn. Fire away, everybody. Do you bring Rugani back from his loan? $0 and have more money for a striker? This has come up a lot, and I said yes. For me, yes. I would bring back Rugani. I have no concerns about ball playing ability and everything like that because I said, if the work that Bremer was able to do on the ball and the improvement he's made there, I have no worries with Rugani. And again, save the money and bolster the attack. We have to bolster the attack. That's the highest priority for me with this team. Bring Rugani back. Bring Rugani back. Fine with it. Fine with it. Swati, how many wins do you expect from the matches against Lazio, Stuttgart, Inter, and Parma? So I did say this, my bold October prediction was we don't lose. We don't lose in October. Lazio will be tough, but it's not going to be closed off. We win. Stuttgart will be tricky, but we'll win. Inter and Parma, I'm going to say, even though it doesn't feel that way, or feel like that, all we can hope is that the lessons are there. And I know that during previous tenures, we got tired of hearing this, like, oh, you got to learn your lesson. Hopefully we learn our lesson. Because we had a coach that used to always say that, well, we got to learn our lesson. We got to learn our lesson. But they weren't showing it on the pitch. This is like that hope you learned your lesson moment for Mota, and we'll see the reaction. But we might go 2 wins. We might go 2 wins out of those, but I wouldn't be surprised with 3, okay? Wouldn't be surprised with 3. RB comps, when Nico Gonzalez comes back, he shouldn't be a starter. Conceição has shown why he should be a starter in this team. Thoughts? I love Conceição. Everyone here knows that. I was high on this kid when the second he got mentioned around us targeting him. Said, bring him in. Yes, please. Let's go. Giddy up. Conceição has shown several levels over and above Nico Gonzalez, in my personal opinion. Several levels over and above. Nico Gonzalez is a good player, but Nico Gonzalez is nowhere near. And we got to also look at the fact that we were playing another low block yesterday. But in the first half, that first half yesterday was better. It was better than any of the previous matches we played against the teams that were playing low defensive lines against us. By far. Nico Gonzalez doesn't tip the scale for us. Conceição, that was the first time we seen him from the get-go against the teams that play us that way. Did that tip the scale? I think it does. I think it totally does. The guy is fantastic. And you can't keep him at bay. He'll cut to the left, he'll cut to the right. He does either with no problems. He creates nightmares for the defense. And we were doing all the right things. We were getting him in those 1-on-1s. Nico Gonzalez is a good player, but he shines in the space. Chico works great even in tight spaces. It's a big difference. So Nico will look better in those open games, but Conceição is a cut above, in my opinion. That's just me. But in terms of Nico Gonzalez standalone, he could maybe play a part as a 10 potentially, because he does a lot of good defensive work. And actually, this is one of the things we talked a lot about, Omer and I, on the show, about Nico Gonzalez being used in that Leipzig match because of the defensive work. Guys, I don't know if you noticed, but Conceição, the defensive work he also put in yesterday, he's complete. This kid is complete. That's one hell of a player. Conceição's a baller. He's a baller, everybody. But Nico Gonzalez might switch him up with Cope Miners and try him at the 10 role when he comes back. You know, and obviously Cope Miners is still a must start for Juve. The flack that he's been getting from fans, I personally don't quite understand. That's just me personally. I don't quite get it. But to each their own. In the next match from Juve Corner Cat, in the next match against Lazio, who do you think should be in the starting midfield? We have to wait and see what's going on with Cope Miners. For me, against Lazio, I would have Locatelli in the middle of the pitch there. I would actually play, it's going to be an open game. I would go Locatelli, I would go McKennie, and I would go Cope Miners. That's what I would personally do in the midfield to start against Lazio. I'm curious to see what you guys think, and many might be surprised that I'm throwing McKennie in there, but hey, based on what I've seen so far, and like I said, I don't expect it to be a closed off game. So McKennie seems to make sense in the middle of the park there. Locatelli, McKennie, Cope Miners. But I'm open to a switch up there, but yeah, I think with all things considered, where the guys stand, some say get Luiz forward. Stop playing him based out in the midfield and get him like a 4-1-4-1. Play Locatelli back there, get Luiz up there with Cope Miners, and then you'll see Luiz kind of shine. But I think right now, not even so much as being in the doghouse, but I don't know with Lazio if we just go to it. It would be one hell of a boost, one hell of a statement. But I'd go Locatelli, McKennie, Cope-Miners. Forza Juve would go Locatelli, Cope-Miners, and Thuram. I'm fine with that one too. Forza Juve. If Luca continues the way he has played, where do you rank him compared to other midfield in Serie A? For me, if he keeps his form for the rest of the season, I'd say he's top 3 mids in Serie A. If he plays the way he has been and keeps it for the season, I'm trying to think right now quickly off the top of my head for midfielders in the league. Without a doubt, if he played the way he has for the entire season, top 5. Top 5. If he can continue this for the whole season. If not 5, like on the fringe. On the fringe, okay? Yes, Alex. Flying solo today. Flying solo. It's all good, though. Meran, what is one thing this team needs to make it perfect? One thing this team needs to make it perfect. I'm going to be honest right now. It's going to depend on if people want to talk about a personnel issue or if you want to talk about like an approach issue. Perfect. I hope we're never perfect because it always gives them the drive to strive for more, right? And to keep working. So let's put that out there right now. I'm going to go further away from personnel and more towards Malta. And I think he's got the mix of players to do more in terms of the aggression. So one thing this team needs for me to be perfect, that tenacity, that aggression we saw against Leipzig, you need that also in Serie A. You don't need to go wide open, full throttle, but you need way more aggression than we show. It's way too flat in Italy. Way too flat. And when you look at the good teams, when you look at the teams that Juve's chasing, they don't rest on one. The teams sitting back, they're going to send numbers. They're going to put them under. They are going to force their way to 1 goal, to 2 goals, to sometimes 3 goals. You punish these teams. You do so with aggression. These other teams, sometimes they allow goals, but they make damn sure they put these other clubs under. If you think back to during this run, like Inter, their title run and everything, they fell behind in games. But you always watched and you felt, and it was the same vibes we had during our decade of dominance. You fall behind. No, you know what? We'll turn this around. It'll still be a win. There's still question marks around this team. For me, I'm just going to say aggression, not personnel, not anything else. This team needs the right aggression. It's more of a mental thing for me right now. Swati, thoughts on Italy's upcoming matches against Belgium and Israel? No Chiesa, Barella, Locatelli, no Gatti. Hey, I think Spalletti's throwing me for all sorts of loops, really, with the Azzurri. Nations League, I don't really care about, like, whatsoever. But I think Italy will be all right, even in these 2 games. Belgium one will be probably tough for them, but Spalletti's odd with choices. I personally think it's personal when it comes to Locatelli. Not saying anything on the others. He's bizarre. Spalletti's a weird one. I think he's fortunate to even be sticking around after the Euros, but they, I guess, made that a wash, considering. I don't know. But wouldn't be surprised if I think we'll see one win there and a draw. Personally, that's what I think. Already coming in here, the better Cambiaso plays, the better Juve is, in my opinion. Is he our barometer? So, what did everybody think about Cambiaso's performance yesterday? Drop that in the chat real quick. I'm going to pull up his numbers from that game, because Cambiaso, man, he is so versatile. When he gets rolling, it's massive for Juve, obviously. But there's games where he's quiet. And I've recently said on the show that when he's quiet, it's okay. It's okay for any of our guys to be quiet, because it just means the next guys have to pull the weight and it's next man up type thing. He had 84 touches in yesterday's game, 96% passing accuracy, 0 key passes. 0 key passes, 3 crosses, none of them were accurate. Long balls, none accurate, 1. Ground duels, 3, 1 out of 4. Aerial duels, 1, 2 out of 3. It was pretty quiet for Cambiaso. He's kind of tasked with this thing where if he's not heavily involved offensively, we think he hasn't really done anything. I could see, and Anton saying that he ghosted yesterday. I see that a lot. Cambiaso, yeah, he's capable of a lot. We've seen it. He can break games open, but he doesn't always do it. And it kind of has to do with something I've said along the lines of too many cooks in the kitchen. You can't have too many cooks in the kitchen, right? If you have too many guys that want to control or want to be dictating the offense and setting stuff up, it's not going to work, right? Cambiaso's got to find a way to still be involved because he's so important. He's so important to us, and I do think he's important to us, but he's got to still find a way in those games to just make a little bit more of an impact, a little bit more of a difference. It could be something as simple as just creating those overlaps, getting high, getting advanced, which he did for the most part yesterday. But those early crosses in, be effective, and maybe take guys on sometimes. Not be so quick to just pass it off and realize that he can do that. He doesn't have to distribute to Yildiz or Mbangula for them to take the one-on-one. You could take the one-on-ones as well. So it's just about everybody finding their comfort zone and finding their niche. And I think right now, one of the answers to the last 2 questions ago, 2 Storm the Barn questions ago, what is the one thing this team needs? Forza Juve said, time. Okay? Time. They need time. That's great. It's a great answer. Because time, they will need time. And when you're looking at that, it makes perfect sense. Time for all of these players to find their roles and sort it all out. Cambiaso, I'm not going to write him off by any means. I'm not going to say he's struggling or anything. It's just part of this growing. Part of the growing here. Part of this team and all its players figuring out their roles. But Cambiaso, we do need him more involved offensively. But there's a lot of players that have come into the mix here with this team. We have to find a way to get all of them kind of cooking and involved. So it's going to take time. That's all it is, everybody. It's going to take time. So we just have to wait and see. Now, in terms of Storm the Barn, you guys keep firing. The chat, for some reason, has frozen up on me. I'm going to try to correct it here while we're on air here, because the chat is completely frozen. So hopefully the feed's still going. Hopefully you're all still with me. But we go into this international break, and like I said, we've got a lot to figure out about ourselves still. We see some of the news coming out around this team. Colt Miners going to Holland there, and he'll be evaluated. When we're talking about Locatelli's performances so far this season, he came up earlier in this chat. Locatelli has significantly raised his playing levels under new coach Thiago Motta this season. The Juventus midfielder stats this season are as follows: 97% pass accuracy in his own half, 89% in the opponent's half, 4 balls recovered per game, 88% aerial duels won. Impressive statistics from Manuel Locatelli. In terms of Colt Miners, I told you guys he was getting flack from people yesterday in terms of that performance. I'm going to tell you right now, the main thing that he was getting flack for was the passing. And everybody that was giving him a hard time for the performance yesterday said he wasn't strong enough, definitely in terms of passing, because he had 78% pass accuracy, okay? Sometimes we let stats get away from us, and I think that would have been probably one of those scenarios. 78% pass accuracy. He was 21 out of 27, okay? But he had 3 key passes. He also had 2 good opportunities himself. When you're playing in tight as at 10, and the way he was playing yesterday, in and around those tight spaces of the defense, trying to work 1-2s and trying to work off Vlahovic, yeah, you're going to get more passes wrong than you do right, because that's the nature of the beast and where he's playing. So to say he sucked because he had 78% pass, actually for me, that's not a good measurement because of the way he was playing. So yeah, I'm not really with that one right there for me personally. I'm going to say, no, we're not going to give flack to Colt Miners there. No means. We have another storm in the barn here. Suari, do you still see this Serie A being a 3-horse race between Juve, Inter, and Napoli? This is kind of where it's all rounded up and it all sums up for me. Yes, it is a 3-horse race. For everyone and we're all frustrated yesterday with what happened, rightfully so. Why wouldn't we be frustrated? That was a game that should have been 3 points. I can read you some of the things, okay? Because yesterday, they always try to get Alberto going, okay? They always try to get us going, these rivals, okay? Losing to Cagliari at home isn't a good sign, my guy. Hasn't happened since 2015. Games like those are crucial for what your aspirations are this year. First of all, it wasn't a loss. It was a draw, and there's a big difference between losses and draws because it's 1 point, and 1 point could actually make a difference. But the thing is, titles aren't won in October, everybody. They're not. We are 3 points off the top. We haven't suffered defeat yet. This one yesterday may feel like a defeat, but it isn't a defeat. We're 3 points off the top. If you're telling me that those other clubs aren't dropping points from here to the rest of the way out, that ain't going to happen. They're going to drop points too. There's still critical matches between us and those clubs. There's one coming up very, very soon, which could make an impact. But again, it won't be the final impact. Titles are not won in October, everybody. It's a marathon, not a sprint. We're 3 points out, okay? With a lot of football left, we still haven't tasted defeat. This is still, again, far from a finished product, we can say, and probably further than what we expected. We probably thought maybe we were getting closer, and I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of thinking, you know what? We're further ahead than we should be at this point with Motta, his new system, his game, everything. We're further ahead. We're cooking. And this one just kind of brought us back. Are we back to square one, though? I don't think so. It's just part of this team growing, figuring themselves out, and even the players figuring themselves out. Alex P saying both can be true, Al. Those 2 missed points will play a role as well, and the game was there for the taking. Little room for excuses. There's no excuses. We fucked up. Everybody said that. That's a winnable game. But if you're telling me that's the be-all, end-all, and the season is a wash, we just gave up the title, I'm going to strongly disagree. We didn't lose the title with these 2 points. Because you still have another match with Napoli that represents those 3 points. The 3 points you're currently behind them will be represented in one match. The difference with these little games, not little games, but the games against the smaller sides, that's what you want to make up your difference. You know, you never want to bank on the games against direct competition for whoever is in the title mix that season. But sometimes the way these things go, that's what it comes down to. Hey, like I said, one game, one step at a time. But I'm not going to say it's all done and lost right now, 7 games in, October 7th, that we've just pissed away the title. I saw a lot of that comment out there. I'm not going to say that. That would be crazy to think so. Okay? There's far worse starts that we could be off to than being 3 points off 7 games in. We just have to remember there's so many moving pieces right now, so many new pieces, and we've got some guys we're still trying to get firing. Yildiz, for me, he's even in the games, all the games he starts and whatnot, like I said it going into the season, are we relying a little too heavily on this guy, him being this next thing? I'd like to see him maybe in a 10 role a little bit more. Vlahovic is streaky, everybody. That's the reality. Points, we might be losing points on execution. And Vlahovic wasn't the only one yesterday. Cole Miners should have bagged one. But ultimately, for me, it's the team. Malta says what? You don't win but as an individual, you don't lose as an individual. We do everything as a team. We win, lose, or draw as a team. Nobody else picked it up yesterday. Nobody else urged this team on and took matters into their own hands. Vlahovic had the game on his foot to seal it, to kill it. Furthermore, we just shit ourselves. We shit ourselves in late in the game and allowed a draw. Brutal. Learning, hopefully, but we got to see. Are we out of this title? No, absolutely not. Swati says Juve, City, and small club Arsenal are unbeaten, I believe. Small club Arsenal. Yeah. Would you... I don't see the room for too much negativity out of this one. Not yet. And I get it that it's 4 draws, right? 4 draws all against these low defensive lines and everything. But again, it's like those steps, right? Those building blocks. The past 2 against the low blocks, is it not better? I think yesterday, actually, the first half was the best I've seen us against a team that wants to play that way. By far. Created more than enough to seal the game in the first half. The other ones were all like almost all wasted first halves. It's getting there. I think it's all up here with this team. They just need to be aggressive. And they need to kill these teams. That's what the teams that are chasing titles do against low block teams in Italy. They will smother them. Juve has work to do. I think it's all mentally. Malta, he's going to have time to figure this out. And we get the word today in the news that there is no rest for the wicked. All right. Bianconeri will be training until Thursday, and then they'll get their break and they'll get some rest. We have some discussions about Danilo. I actually think it's Bonucci speaking about a couple of things. One was the loss of Bremer. He says now Juve now lack a player who changes the whole department when he's on the field. Gatti and Kalulu are having good championships, but without Bremer, this element is gone. He helps a lot and solves a lot. He recovers a lot. In terms of Danilo, he says, not being a protagonist, ? Knowing him as well as I do, he is definitely suffering, but he is a golden person. Inside the locker room, he always speaks the right words. He has never created any issues, but of course, when you don't play, it always bothers you. Fullback, ? I don't think so. He always told me he likes to play centrally in a 3 or a 2. Yeah, so Bonucci having some words. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Alex P saying 4 draws. We get pumped in Champions League. Luckily, we have been able to return more than we received so far. The 3 wins mask the issues we have, in my opinion. What? I'm not seeing these issues other than our own that is like against one style opponent. I really don't see these issues. That Champions League game against Leipzig was like a complete one-off whirlwind insane match with so many elements that you can't even prepare for. The fact that we went toe-to-toe, like I said, we could have got blown up because they had so many opportunities. But we went after it, and it worked. But I get it. I get the concern. But again, what are all these issues that we're talking about? I see one issue. And it's teams that play us like we do yesterday and us trying to maintain this stability and being safe. Go after it. Kill these teams. We won't have a problem. Push for that second goal, but do so with conviction. You have enough firepower. You have the ability to. My biggest issue outside of aggression is this. How come all of a sudden this team isn't threatening on set pieces to save their life? What has happened that we now cannot get to a header to save our life? What's happened? What has happened that all of a sudden we just cannot threat on a set piece? That's brutal. That was like bread and butter over these past few years. That was bread and butter. And now it's like, and against these park buses, that's a big counterpart. And I think for me personally, there's a couple things going on. Yesterday, in playing into how we're safe in approach and then just to highlight again a scenario around Yarimina and some of our players, we're too cute. We're trying to be way too cute. We're trying to be too pretty. We're like, we got to get ugly. You got to get ugly. You got to get a little dirty. You got to get a little mean. But you got to take it. It's part of it is aggression, but I feel like we're trying to play way too cute a football. Way too cute. And you're taking opportunities away from yourself. You don't want to shoot from range. You want to work it right into these nice goals, etc. And then you come out of it walking away with nothing. But you got to get ugly, especially against these park buses. Like, throw everything at them, ask questions. I feel like we're a little too cute. We need to be meaner and a little more aggression in Italy. That's me. But again, hey, we got a lot of time to figure this out. Team's going to be working forward. Let's see what happened. But, we talked about a team that was more suited to Europe than they are Italy. I see some comments about Suarez saying true. Max's Juve scored from set pieces. being ugly, playing ugly, scoring some ugly goals. Are we going to sit and bitch about how the goals go in? Nobody's ever going to sit at the end of a win and say, oh, but those goals are ugly. And I mean, even though last season, a lot of our fan base, or even the season before, always said, they keep scoring on set pieces. They say, I don't care how you score. Score the goals. Now we're in this situation where we're playing these teams and you're not scoring anything. I don't care how the goals go in. Find the goals. Stop being cute. Get mean. Get nasty. Get aggressive. Take it to these clubs in Italy that want to park it. We have one problem. One problem. And it's us. It's us. Figure out. You've got the teams doing what you want them to do. Allow us to control the ball. Allow us to dictate what happens. But again, get the job done and punish them. Let's see. Let's see, everybody. We go into international break. Like I said, 3 points out from the top. Still undefeated. We're going to come back. It's going to be Lazio. That's going to be a tough game. Without Conceição, I would feel a lot better with him going in. We're still waiting for Nico Gonzalez to get back. What are we going to do? Let's see. Yildiz, Imbangula. We're going to have to sort it out, spread them out. Imbangula has played on the right. Yildiz can also operate on the right, but it's pretty light on both of them. I'm going to say Yildiz still has a long way to go situationally, and so does Imbangula based on his game yesterday. Situationally, there's a big difference from a guy at Conceição to Yildiz to Imbangula. Situationally, Conceição is just miles clear of any other winger we have on this team right now. So let's see what happens at Lazio's. One's going to be tough. Are we doing watch-alongs for the Azzurri? I don't think so because of when the games are, man. I think work and whatnot. So no watch-alongs for the Azzurri, all right? But we will do a live show kind of rounding up everything in the news to come from Juve. And the news is really around fitness and what we're going to see out of this team. So all eyes on Colt Miners, who's got a hip issue. Nico Gonzalez not set to come back till end of the month. Milik is 3 months out. Adzic. When will Adzic come in? Can Adzic help out this team? Well, might be asking too much for the youngster, but Motta said immediately when he saw him, he stays with us. Let's see. Maybe he can surprise us. So for a couple guys that might be down right now, maybe we can have a couple others surprise us and lift us. Imbangula surprised us at the start, but now hasn't been in action a lot. Yesterday, I think, leaves us feeling the same way. Still got a lot to show. Let's see what happens, everybody. I'll keep you in the news loop throughout the week, throughout international break, and then we will get back to Juve once we return from the international break. As always, I thank you. Thanks for toughing it out with me solo today. Still, I like these ones with the Storm the Barn, and it just feels a lot more connected to the chat. I still enjoy it every time. Hey, not all is lost, but some things to sort out. Vlahovic, you got to get consistent, brother. You got to get tough. Those popcorn muscles aren't impressing me anymore, okay? Get tough, buddy, okay? And Douglas Luiz, what the hell? I don't know what it is, man. Maybe you and Alicia need to get different places where you're staying. I don't know what it is, but she's done great, okay? She's integrated fantastic. So, hey, maybe spend more time with her. Talk to her. Figure out how she's done it. Sort it out. But we'll be back to cover it all. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your weeks. As always, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. My entire computer is frozen, everybody. It looks like we're not shutting things down. This is amazing. Yeah, we're still alive. Still alive. What do you guys want to talk about? I'm still alive. Great job. Thank you. Anticlimactic goodbye. We're doing it live. I actually legitimately have no idea how this happened. Remember when I said the live chat shut down? It did shut down. And we're going to be live. So maybe we're just going to work with Berto. We're just the PC has said you're not shutting anything down. You're not shutting anything down. This is amazing. Like literally nothing works. I don't even have words for this, you guys. Nothing's reacting, nothing's moving. Oh my goodness. This is the perfect ending for what we just watched yesterday. I gotta say, this is the perfect ending. How else would you end a live with what we watched yesterday than this? Completely frozen and nothing to do. I might have to go old school and just unplug this thing. Huh. What a life. What a life. Anyways, you guys take care. I got to sort this out, but you know the drill. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Ciao, ciao.